later. Democrats have become the party of blood guilt. Almost every Democratic presidential candidate says they're on board with race-based reparations. Cory Booker says everyone else is a phony, though. They're just pandering. He's not kidding at all. Watch.
So an issue, Senator, that has really been a hot-button issue, this time on the campaign trail, reparations. Would you be in favor of direct monetary payments to black Americans who are descendants of slaves?
Can I tell you why I'm frustrated and disappointed by this reparation conversation? It's because it's being reduced to just a box to check on a presidential list, when this is so much more of a serious conversation. So do I support legislation that is race conscious about balancing the economic scales? Not only do I support it, but I have legislation that actually does it. In fact, I've got the only legislation, I think, in the entire Congress that Columbia University says would virtually eliminate the racial wealth gap in our country.
Well, it turns out Booker's bill wouldn't actually make reparations. Instead, it would create a commission to study reparations, and that commission would make recommendations. But why the long wait? What sort of reparations are needed to make America whole? Who gets them and who pays for them? Jason Nichols is a professor of African American Studies at the University of Maryland. He joins us tonight. Professor, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Cory Booker's sponsoring this. Cory Booker grew up in a town that was less than 1% black. Both his parents were IBM executives. He went to Stanford, then he got a Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford, then he went to Yale Law School. He's now a United States Senator. How big would his reparations check be?
So first of all, the commission is going to study whether there's even a check.
Right.
There's this idea that there's a check, that it'll come from individual taxpayers. We don't know any of that. Perhaps it could come from the corporations that have benefited from slave labor, like Lehman Brothers, like Wachovia, like J.P. Morgan, like Aetna, all of which
but who would get it? No, right. That's the funding side. I mean the beneficiary side. So how big someone who's obviously at the pinnacle of privilege in our society, like Cory Booker?
I wouldn't say he's the pinnacle of privilege. Have you heard his story about his father trying to buy a home, had to have a white man pretend that he was him in order to buy a home?
There's no doubt in my mind that Cory Booker's family has faced racism. I mean, that's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying that he went...
So then he's not privileged. Again, we're
Well, let's see. Unlike me, for example, he went to, let me restate, he went to Stanford, then he was a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, and then he went to Yale Law School. Now he's a United States Senator. So it's hard. There are a lot of people who lack any privilege at all. He's not one of them. So how much, I mean, would he be a beneficiary?
Again, does anybody earn any of that? Because who's to say that he didn't earn those, the Rhodes Scholarship, the entrance into Stanford?
I'm assuming he did earn it. I'm not saying he didn't. Right. I'm just saying, as of right now, 2019, he's one of the most powerful people in the country. Would people like that be eligible for payment?
Again, do
you think they should
One of the things we're doing is studying how this works.
Right, but I mean, let's just add our voices to the conversation. Because as you know, and I mean it, I do think it's really clear that sins that have taken place in America's past reverberate through the centuries. It's obviously true.
Absolutely. The past informs the future.
Right, but do we make it worse? And so my concern would be if we're giving people money who don't need it, and Cory Booker would be right at the top, so would Barack Obama, purely because of their skin color.
Yeah, I would say Barack Obama's not eligible.
Okay. Well, Cory, because he doesn't have a parent who lived in the United States.
Right. He's not a descendant of enslaved people in the United States of America. I don't know about Cory Booker's genealogy.
But would you feel uncomfortable if Cory Booker got, or I don't know, pick a very affluent African American, and there are not a small number, a lot, and you know them, I do too. Would you feel uncomfortable if they got checks?
Again, I'm not sure that this goes down to checks. Again, how this is going to be dispensed, who gets it, these are the things that we need to study and figure out if it's even feasible.
So can you understand, there are over 300,000 Americans killed on the Union side in the Civil War, and their descendants must be saying, holy smokes, and we lost a family member fighting this institution, or people who just showed up from another country who might be inscripted to pay for this. How about Latin American immigrants? Could you look them right in the eye and say, Tucker, your money goes to this?
Again, Tucker, you are looking at this from a moral standpoint. I think that's an okay standpoint.
The whole conversation's a moral.
But I think some of this has to be looked at as an economic issue. We're looking at it from the standpoint of there were people whose labor was extracted.
Right.
And made people and the country extremely wealthy, and other people did not get a chance to build that generational wealth.
I don't think anybody doubts that, actually. But what we're talking about and what Booker is talking about is what do we do now?
Right.
And so what you're going to wind up with is a country that says to poor people from Guatemala, some percentage of what you make is going to go to make this thing you had nothing to do with better.
Again, this is what we have to study. It could come from these corporations. Why wouldn't it come from Lehman Brothers?
But the shares of those corporations in some cases are going to be owned by first-generation immigrants,
Sure,
and they're going to say, that's my money, and like, what are you going to say to them?
I would say that this corporation that you've invested in owes a debt because it became extremely wealthy.
But the corporation doesn't exist.
From free labor.
That's true.
And went and discriminated against people throughout the years.
There's no doubt, but the corporation is owned by individuals in the United States.
Sure.
There is no corporation apart from that. I mean, it's something that they own, and I would say probably most of them have no even genealogical link to slavery. And a lot of them were like on the other side. There are probably a lot of black owners of Lehman stock or whatever. So like,
and again,
you bump into reality pretty fast, and then it becomes grotesque, doesn't it?
I think this is something, again, that a commission has to study to look at what is a fair way to dispense reparations. How can we equalize or at least, get rid of this wealth gap? It says that it will take 228 years to have African Americans be at the same level as whites, and that is if we made everything equal today. It would take 28 years to eliminate the racial wealth gap.
One of many statistics produced by academia that has no reference point in reality. Like
how's that not a reference point?
Because it's unknowable. That's unknowable.
That is a projection.
I gotta get into this academic thing where I'd be like, what do you do?
Oh, I would love to have you. We'd love to have you, Tucker.
I wouldn't spend. They'd kick me out so fast to make your head spin.
Hopefully,
say a good word for me, Professor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.